All right. Hey, everybody, North Star Ball. With a ban list review this time. We missed one before, but this
We
this
meant to do the set 11 or the set 10 one, but
that one was
I
kind
don't
of
know.
bigger.
So many people got to it so quickly, and it just didn't really feel like there was anything left to say. Especially since they didn't really errata many cards. They just
Yeah, straight up
banned a bunch of
bans.
them.
I think there was like one or two erratas. The Goku Black leader.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean that's like a killer errata. There's at least something to discuss with the cards that we'll talk about today.
Yeah.
The Goku Black is just like, why even play this leader?
Yeah. Exactly. Today, set 11 list came out. There's a little there's a lot of salt that the first list didn't have a certain character, and then Bandai came out and said, "Oh wait, oops." The wrong
Oh,
thing went
oops.
out, which actually does happen in a lot of card games posting stuff like on websites. So I don't think I think it was a mistake because they already had
Really
like
honest
it was a really good errata, I think. Like it's not something you just come up with on the spot.
for Bibbidi.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we'll get to it. We'll
Yeah.
get to it. I think the idea was good. I think the execution was poor, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, which it
Let's
happens.
let's
But
talk
we
about
got
the
one happy boy over there, so we'll see. Bans.
yeah,
None.
none.
Zero.
Game's pretty balanced right now, all things considered. We saw like kind of Vejec's domination, but like it wasn't like overwhelming domination. It was like 1/4 of a top eight,
And
which
I would
is
kind of blame webcam aggro, like Vessel One aggro being best, and then the
yeah, at a real quote unquote real event, in person, I don't think that meta would have been like that. I think we would have seen quite a bit more green, and I think yellow also would have seen more play.
I
But
agree. I
blue was
also
kind of aggro and
I think
that's the
when
one.
a deck pulls ahead a little bit, like it'll see a lot of play, like a lot of play right away. Like so, our
And then
set
it immediately sees all the counterplay, and that's why we saw like that Invoker deck win because
correct.
everyone was playing the counter reject strategy, and Invoker just trashes all those decks.
Yep. And I
Metagame.
yeah, and I think our set 10 meta was also a little behind. I don't think we had our first events to like a bit after set 10 dropped, if I'm correct.
Yeah, it had been a little while, but
Yeah.
either way, we're just in a really balanced game generally right now. Even these erratas, the game would have lived and just been fine without them. I think I'm glad overall we got them because it's like annoying, but annoying is not a good enough reason to ban a card.
Right. All right, so we'll go to the unban.
The first one
Yeah.
ever.
Yeah. I kind of wasn't expecting it, but like the more I think about it, it's
I mean,
like
we talked about it
we
yesterday,
we literally talked about it right before. Yeah. I
like
know.
the night before. We were talking about if Bardock and whatnot could come back because people were talking about Bardock and this. I'm like, well, Goten can come back. It's just a 10K. And so some people are thinking that this card's going to be like really good again. And I'm like, it's fine.
There's the
Like,
Goku lineage package you would have to run,
you'd
which
have to
like
give up 8 spots in your deck. And since this card does, the whole point of why this card was so ridiculous is because you could just pull it back with Flute. But now you have to attack with it.
well, it wasn't
And
just
then,
flute.
exactly. Right. So there's like so much like missing for it to be super broken. Because top three is great, but it's only a 10K attacker. So it's not lethal on the backside. And people are flipping over to their backside very quickly now. Like all the time, very quickly. Um, on top of that, it just dies on the crackback. You don't get to protect it the way you could with Flute or Senzu Bean in Storm.
Right.
Like
Flute
you're
sensu
just swing
bean.
with it.
You're
I
not
mean,
swinging like
there's more
crazy with
there's more floodgates
trunks.
now that just say you can't attack,
Yeah.
and 8 cards in a deck where a bunch of them become quote unquote dead later in the game is not good.
So with this unban, like where would you potentially see this Garcia in play? Because I got a couple ideas.
Um, I think people are kind of sleeping on red yellow Bulma,
There we go. That's one of my
potentially
ideas.
red yellow Beerus, because it allows you to cycle really quickly as soon as right, because you only need the one Gohan in hand, so you can just start cycling out all the other Gohans. Um,
Birth of a
I
Super Saiyan
think
God plays this.
I think that's fine, but you wouldn't swap into it though. There's so many cards. There's a lot of moving pieces, and since you don't place them in drop, you move them to the bottom of the deck. You don't really want that.
Mhm.
Um,
Exodia Goku, set 9 Goku.
I think that's a very realistic one. I think
Yeah.
that's also that's um I
Seed
think that's
pieces, put the Goku back in your deck because I don't. No, you can play it from hand. But you also don't want a
yeah,
bunch of them in your hand. So putting it back in the deck's
it's
good.
putting it at the bottom, yeah, securing it there. Like
Uh,
it's fine in a bunch of decks, but I think HOM slash
Shenron.
Victory Strike Shenron is
Because,
a decent chance. Like HOM is still ridiculous, and it gets around yeah every counterplay because Trunks can't hit it, Yamcha can't hit it, Vegeta can't hit it, and if it's a blocker, then they just tap it. And Frieza also can't hit it because it's a not a 8 drop.
right.
So,
And
and
then,
Trunks usually might not be online for Path.
right. I think another thing to think about with the Shenron HOM is the now we have assembled a squad and you just go right into this guy. Like
Yep,
you always
that
have
seems
you
pretty
always
good.
have available. And who knows, we might get support for Goku's lineage in the future.
Who
Who
knows?
who,
Even
who
though we know.
yeah, we know. There's some info, but we'll that's a whole nother time.
I mean, that's still like honestly like for such a cool idea. It is probably the least tapped, one of the least tapped like big ideas. Like that is such a open space for them to mess with, especially swap is like such a cool mechanic that's not really found in a lot of other card games. There's a lot of sacrificing, but there's not a lot of like pick it up, and in this game that's how you keep advantage. So like when you're teaching someone the game, it's a really cool thing, but
Hmm.
Bandai basically gave you 2 options per number and then said, that's it, no more.
Yeah,
You get one promo,
even their big bounds
two
are kind of
promos.
meh, except for HOM. But it's so much work to get up there.
Exactly. Except for with Path, because Path is broken.
Yeah, even with Path, he's like what turn 4,
Yep.
so
And you have
that's
to tap out turn 3 and turn 4 to play him unless you're playing a big package.
well 3 if you hard cast them, you could swap into them.
That's what I'm saying. But
Yeah,
if you're swapping, then you have to run 4 Gohan slash Gokus, depending on which 2 drop you want, and 4 paths. And
yeah.
then because of that, if you're playing Gohans, you're not gonna not play this Goten. So like it becomes a really big package if you're not just playing the 4, 4, and 1 for path, uh, height, and victory strike.
Hmm. And then of course, Goku lineage leaders themselves, like hardcore swap, would
Hmm
benefit from this.
I think Bulma's a good option too.
Yeah, Bulma, because Birth Super Saiyan God, it becomes a blocker if you don't swing with it somehow. Like you get floodgated before. You could even run. I don't know. You could run
Because
Gohan
you
in
could
there.
literally I think you just run a mono yellow deck in Bulma. Literally just run the HOM just to draw more cards and victory strike.
Yeah, because they all become blockers.
Any that aren't out, yeah, become blockers. So if you really need the defense, okay, block with path.
Yeah.
Cool, 19k. You gonna combo up? Okay.
Yeah, exactly. It's some fun
Like
stuff to play with for sure. Like the card
like
opens up consistency for a lot of decks that needed it. Like even at
mhm.
2, just playing it, like it's not bad.
It's not bad. 2 energy to just search a card. I really think the big issue is that we're seeing the way you have to build your deck now is that if there are cards in your deck that are not good after turn 3, you probably shouldn't be playing that card.
Mhm.
Because there's so many times where you're like 1 card short. Thanks, Yu-Gi-Oh! The movie.
for one
Um,
daily.
yeah, exactly. And as someone who plays a deck that feels like you have to run the cantrip for the unison, it feels real bad to like draw into that late game.
Yeah, that's true. It's
Drawing a
all it is
Bulma
like
or a Mai.
combo power.
Right, and in this deck, it's 8 cards. Like, and the fact is that yeah, you're able to potentially do stuff nicely, in terms of like consistency, but you still have to pay an energy to do it and then protect it afterwards. So it's not like you get to go on turn 4 and go, oh crap, I still don't have my, I don't know, in turn 4 is what, Meki? Still don't have my Meki Kabura. Let's go ahead and use Goten. But then it costs you an energy, and so actually it's a turn 5 play. Good card, but I don't think it's going to change the meta at all.
Nah.
Locally, it's cool though. Locally, very cool.
And people trying to sell this card for like $5, even $2. Get
They are,
get over it.
they are, they are everywhere.
Literally, our locals once the card was banned was like, here's a whole pack of unopened promos if someone wants them. That was like what, a year and a half. No way you could
Yeah,
tell that
I
was gonna happen. Like the card's literally everywhere.
I have like 9 of this card, and
You
I
never even
didn't
were
play that.
around.
I wasn't around. The card had been banned the entire time I was playing the game. Ban
Yep.
list was real small then, and I was still not.
Yeah. Only one worth something is the champion promo, the event pack promo, because that one looks nice.
It looks real nice.
The
So
Shenron. All right. Errata time.
yeah,
Get it over
get
with.
to it.
Monkey. We
We'll
knew
talk.
we knew about this already. So
Yeah, we can just very lightly touch on it. I mean, it's still a good card. Um, I still think the 2 blue wouldn't have been a problem. I think 3 energy would have been a nice middle ground because 4 is just too much. It's honestly it's just too much. Um, and then the +1 is like still a really good effect, especially because mono blue leaders generally get a lot from plussing. Um, Baby has trouble with the number of attacks, but if your attack is more likely to go through, that's great. Likewise, if you're playing Zamasu, I mean that's 2 attacks, and playing Vegeta, you're more likely to ramp. So those are all very good traits to have, but
yeah,
4 to draw 2.
I think that's
Man,
because of the ramp. Like you're playing a color
I
that
know, but I'd
ramps.
rather just play Android 18.
Right. But this is also on a unison that'll stick a little more.
It
Uh,
depends though, because it in some decks, right? Like, what does this card do against yellow? Swing leader into Great Ape Goku, and then combo Great Ape. Oops,
right.
oops,
But I
killed it.
I can't see this like just having ape ready at 2 at all times. Just I feel like that'd just be bad for the
It
game.
would be it would be a lot. That's why I think 3 would have been a nice number. But
I could have seen 3 also. Yeah,
four is too much. 2 is probably a little too little.
just something greater than 2 to make it like not like you must include this in every blue deck
Blue deck.
because it's still a 2
Uh,
cost unison, so
he
it'll
is.
come out and it's searchable.
It is searchable. Very searchable. What we got?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think there might be another
I
one.
think that's it for blue actually. But I
It's
mean,
still a top 7,
yeah, 5
top
5.
5. Okay, a top 5
But it's
search for an
that's
ape
fine.
would be kind of scary.
Or Trunks too. That I think is why Maya is the best, is because she searches out one of the key pieces of the deck too.
Yeah, my the unison and the counter card.
Yep. Cool.
Bibbity.
And then it got changed. Well, it got changed to 1 card as well.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that
You
card.
could
All
shuffle
right.
in 5. Shuffling in 5 is a lot because blue doesn't hit sparking 5, but also seems kind of nuts because then you could shuffle in all your super combos and just reuse them.
Yeah. Well, mono blue, so you couldn't use the Zamasu, but in general, yeah, those super combos, the new
Super combos, UI
Dragon
Kamehameha, Obuni,
oh yeah, all those.
Obuni,
That's blue has a lot of strong cards right now.
Sensu Beans.
Ugh.
Imagine shuffling back all 4 Sensu Beans.
Stop it.
and a D magic. All right. We'll talk.
Wait,
We'll
you
talk
get
about the one that
maximum
everyone.
D magic. You shuffled all your cards back.
That's only if you used energy that turn. Just have
Okay.
energy up.
Bibbity.
Anyway,
He got it.
so it was in hot contention. A lot of people hated this card and thought that this was the problem card. If you had asked me, I would have told you it was actually the Vejex leader because no deck can make a Bibbidi as big as Vejex and as quickly as Vejex. The biggest number Bibbidi gets in, say, Demigra or Toa is like 19 to 25. In Vejex, it's like 26 on turn 3.
Yeah, little much. But that
Yeah,
also helps with future proofing black because its
it
identity
does.
is drop and warp.
Milling.
So yeah, self mill.
Um, I think, in all honesty, a Boo errata would have been best, but this is a pretty nice one to
Yeah.
have.
I mean, that'd be really annoying to change it to Boo and then it would be in the starter deck that's going to be around for a while, but makes
Yeah,
sense. Hopefully, oh, we'll get to that later. Never mind. We'll just get to what the new errata is. They added these parentheses. There is now a
up to
max
of 12. So Bibbidi has a power of 15.
15. So Vegix hits that super
So
fast. Other decks,
Vegex,
they'll hit
Vegex will hit that probably turn.
two.
Yeah, definitely turn 2. Because you burst 5, you drop 1 for Goten, burst 5, drop 1 for Goten. Or if you overwhelm with Trunks, you could probably do it turn 1.
Yeah. So
In fact, you
15.
definitely,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
definitely do it.
Definitely get the hash yak too. I've seen that before.
Yep.
So Bibbidi, um, 15 is quite the number for a super combo, but it does not draw. 15
And so,
is it's the highest like it's still the highest super combo.
yes, but I think what people need to realize is that let's talk about your hand, right? If you have 5 cards in hand and you spend 1 Bibbidi to combo out of an attack, and that's 15k. Cool. You have now 4 cards in hand. But let's put it in the other way where you're playing a super combo that is a typical draw card, whether that's Supreme Kai of Time, Trunks, Roshi, or the bottom deck one draw 2.
Hmm.
Any way you put it, to get the same 15 combo power, you spend 1 card in your hand, so you go down to 4, but then you draw 1, so you're back to 5, and then you spend 1 card in hand to also have 15 combo power. Now, people want to think, oh, well, that's great for Bibbidi, but it's both the same result 15 combo power, 4 cards in hand. But let's talk about why that really matters. One, drawing cards is digging. Sometimes offensively, we've all been there. For those that did not play the game since set 9, yeah, I get it. You play Zamasu Super Combo and Bibbidi. That's it. Great. But everyone else has played decks where you're like, oh crap, I need to see the next card, and you're sitting on like 3 super combos, and you decide, well, let's dig for it. There's 20 cards in my deck, and 4 of them are this card. There's a decent chance of the top 3. And so you dig and you find it. Awesome. You found the card you need without giving up any hand advantage, and you push pressure on your opponent. Digging is great. But now let's also put it in this other piece against green, specifically against Bardock right now, and if Serge Broly ever starts to become resurgence again. When you kill Bibbidi, that's minus 15. When you kill just the super combo, it's just 10. Or if they bounce it back with Jocko or whatever, Negotiator Krillin. But realistically, it's only relevant for Bardock and Broly's.
Hmm.
Still worse off because now you also lost 15 rather than just 10 or 5. Lastly, when you're on the defense, Vejex lost to Blue because Obuni put out more attacks than Vejex had cards in hand. But now that Bibbidi is just a 15k, Bibbidi still only defends 1 attack. A super combo draws a new card and then is also enough to get over that attack and gets over another attack. This errata is bad. This card, I think, is now effectively unplayable. Veject, you could make an argument because you don't always want to draw because blah blah blah.
Yeah,
You don't want to mill yourself
that was
out.
the one plus I was gonna say. It's like it has that power, but without drawing, which black would self mill itself probably out if it was prolonged.
But I just don't think it's worth it because I think there's enough cards, right? Koitsuka. I think there's enough reason. Either you just play a 60 card deck, or you play, um, or you like swing at your opponent in a different way. Just manage your deck better. I don't know. Get good.
Right, right,
um,
right.
but that's
It's
so edge case. This card should have said maximum of 13. Um, or oh my gosh, I can't think. 13, 16, or 14, or 17. Because as is, 15k is not enough. 15 is literally the equivalent of running just a draw super combo and comboing a 5k that you were already probably going to draw off the super combo.
yep.
So why not filter instead with the new Vegeta and just ugh, Bandai like literally just hit, if it had made it 13, it doesn't even matter. That would have been enough. That would not explicitly make it better than all the super combos, but it would at least give you a reason to play it. I don't think there's a reason to play this card unless you're playing Vijay and you don't want to deck out or like you don't want to have to shuffle.
Right, because 13 leaves it at 16, and going just 100 over a 5 or a 10 number,
1,000. Yeah.
like 15 or 20, like going one over means your opponent has to over combo to survive an
Which
attack.
means that it would be worth it. Which is why like so 16/19 are effectively the same number. There's edge case scenarios like when you're playing against Prison Frieza, or if there's an attacker that's a 26,000 or 29,000. Um or 19,000, sorry, it's more likely. But
Ooh.
this card just isn't good anymore. Like, and it's not a cool, like it was a cool errata in theory, but since it's not enough, they took away the identity that black had, where black has to be a value color because they aren't giving black options, and it's not a value color when they take away Bibbidi like this.
I mean, it's still a value color, it just doesn't have Bibbidi.
I mean, it's really not though.
It doesn't change like the whole deck.
Oh yeah, it doesn't. Okay, so
Yeah,
black is supposed to still be a value color,
right.
but it doesn't. It doesn't now have the value to keep up. It has like the value of blue and yellow, but without the options of blue and yellow.
So you're saying you would rather keep Bibbidi like in the game?
I would rather keep Bibbidi in the game. Well, one, because it's in a starter deck.
Right.
Um, that makes it really hard, and Bandai put themselves in a really bad position by having both the Vejec's leader and Bibbidi in that starter deck. It's really hard to ban starter deck cards, especially like because if a new player comes into the game and just like I'm gonna buy and this card and learn the game,
Like
if they come to find out that this card that they've like built their strategy around, even if it's not much of a strategy, they built it around the fact that this Bibbidi can help them win the game, and then they find out it's errata or more likely banned. It's just not a good look.
like a Magnificent Collection, the Gogeta. It has
Yeah.
objection. I think there's more ban or errata cards in there, wasn't there?
Um,
Is it mostly objection?
I think it's just objection and Gogeta.
Yeah, objection and
Yeah.
Gogeta 7. Yep. Which Gogeta 7 was the big bomb for the deck.
Uh huh.
But
Um,
so
that's at
that's
least an old product though. But people are going to be buying the Vajak starter deck literally
yeah, because it's supposed
better
to keep
for
these
another two
printing.
sets.
It's supposed to keep these printing starter decks throughout the whole block. Right. So
That's
that
my
means they
big.
couldn't get rid of it. I'm
That's my big
okay with it.
tirade.
Yeah, I'm okay with it being errated. It's
Yeah,
I think it
it's
caused more problems than good.
than it was worth. Yeah, I agree with that. I agree that
So
it was better to errata than to not touch it, but I wouldn't have hated if they not touched it. But I think in this case, the errata is just it sounds slightly too harsh to say it's unplayable, but I really just don't see a reason to play this card over regular super combos. You know what the most common boss monster is in the game? Fu
what?
Shrouded.
Oh yeah.
This card is a 3K.
Or
Cool.
now there's talks in the I saw a little bit of talks in the judge group about the new Broly SCR, how does it interact with the negative combo power? Like all those black cards that have zero power. Like will it go
Mm,
negative or like this one would probably start negative and gain more.
yeah, right. And so that then it's just a 10. It's just so mediocre because of the fact that it's not a 16 or a 19 or a 20k.
I think 20
20 is
is
like
20 too
that's what I
much.
mean. 20 is probably not too much, but it's like
Two of it's
that's why
like
I think 16 or 19 would have been perfect, like for total combo power.
I think that's probably fine because that leaves you at 32. So your leader gets to 47 on the backside normally if you hit two of them, which
Yeah.
then that's still out of just a non-comboed SCR swing.
But
Still,
then all of a sudden they combo on it like at all, and it's not good enough.
right.
But as is, I mean, it's just a like it's literally just a regular super combo. The whole point of Bibbidi was like, hey, so you're gonna sacrifice that ability to dig for new cards slash defend other attacks at the cost of getting more power. But now it doesn't get more power, so the entire reason to play Bibbidi is gone.
Right, because Bibbidi is still weak against, or his main weakness is against going wide decks.
Wide,
Because he
yeah.
can just keep swinging, swinging, swinging until they're out of options and have to combo Bibbidi on like a 15k if you're playing like AOD versus Vegix.
AOD, Obuni, um, Red kind of went wide for a while there with like Pilaf and whatnot.
Right.
But now it's just who cares? And I think even Vajax is there's so much more value out of just playing Trunks or specifically I think the Trunks Xeno is going to be the way to go, like a 2-2 split of the Trunks and Vegeta.
Hmm.
Because why not? They have the names to fuse over them if they get warped right away.
And they overwhelm like one, so they just burst five to refill it to Sparking.
Literally, yeah, the Trunks is live turn one no matter what.
Yeah, that's
Um,
pretty fair. Like for a option to take because this has been hit. So like that's still
yeah,
a really good option for Vegix. Like Vegix is definitely not dead because of this card. It's definitely
yeah.
not the top of the top.
If you think that, you're really underestimating how ridiculous the Vegeks line is, like the
It's
six and
just
seven.
what's it called? The
And
Rio
I've
special.
the Rio special, and yeah, I was sleeping on the Champ Pack card. Using Fusioning to do that on turn two, that's tough, man.
Oh, the
That
Champion
is
Volume 2 Vegix.
that yeah, that is
Hmm.
tough. No wonder that card has been keeping the value.
Yeah, pretty good. I played against that. We have a one local guy hardcore playing Vegix. You know what? He didn't really say to us when we posted this in our group, like a little group
Yeah, I don't
thing,
think
and
he
like,
did. I think we all thought it was like, oh, okay, well now it seems fair. But then the more I thought about it, I was like, wow. So it's just like every other super combo, but only one card in your deck, I guess.
yeah, which makes sense on paper for black, but in practice, it's like,
In Yeah, in
eh,
practice, it's not like the four cards that you're gonna draw from your super combos, right, that
yeah.
you're gonna actually pick up are not worth like that four card deck out is not worth not digging. Digging is more important.
Hmm. Cool.
Let's talk about cards that should slash that people have talked about slash barely missed it.
You want to start blue or black?
Black. Let's talk
Koitsukai.
Koitsukai.
So it made sense. I get the idea behind it with the baby deck coming in. It was gonna be its like big weakness was Koitsukai because you can't play the counterplay card.
You effectively have to defend yourself using the new tournament pack card, which means that most people won't be able to play it, and D Magic, and then Mafuba, which is still a really good set of defense, but the deck doesn't plus when it negates attacks like that.
Right.
It strictly goes minus because it still loses a card in hand.
Uh, so I think it was left in probably because would you think Baby would be a little too strong without some kind of check like that?
I don't know if it would be too strong. I think Baby Hachiyak is exactly what the deck needed. Um, because even the most aggro decks, it's still kind of hard to kill you on turn 3 going first when you're negating that many attacks. Even if everything is a double strike, it's kind of hard. Um, it's a it's a good option to have. The issue I think with Koitsukai. So let's history real quick. Some people have played with this card and played in a meta where I guess Prison Freezer was never relevant, but like where it was a new deck that people actually built. There's a similar card called Live to Fight Another Day. So during your opponent's turn, right, while they're playing the game, if they play anything with 20 or less power, they have to play drop in a 3 additional cards to play it, which is very similar to Koitsukai. He warps 2. However, that card costs 3. Koitsukai costs 1. So I think the big issue with Koitsukai is that it's a card and drop, so there's no loss, so to say, from having it, especially if you're just naturally milling with, say, Goku or Vijax. But then it also lets you still have your turn. 1 energy is not enough for you to go, oh, well, now my turn's gone. 3 energy is enough to make you go, okay, well, now my turn's gone.
Okay.
Um,
I He also has that really
it,
nice
it,
cycling effect. So he's like a
yeah,
bonus.
and the cycle, like, right? Like, I'm literally playing it in Toa currently at 2 just because until I get those Vegeta super combos, man, I'm just gonna bottom deck my Mirror Sevens like that.
Hmm.
Or like there are enough cards that like want to play from deck. So I think it's important that we have effects like that, but those new super combos do that trick. I really just think that Koitsukai was slightly too powerful from the beginning. However, we weren't really thinking about it because the meta shifted where we weren't playing cards on our opponent's turn. If Koitsukai had been
Since
printed,
Arrival and stuff left.
yeah, since basically just since we left multicolor meta. Um,
Yeah,
if Koitsukai had been around in set 7, 8, and 9, geez, man,
that'd have been
that
great.
card would have been nuts. It wouldn't
That
have been great. I think the meta alone would have changed because of that card. Like the entire way you played the game is different because you just run for Koitsukai
Could you
and then
imagine
combo it
it?
away and pay 1.
Imagine it at Nats.
Ugh,
I
apes
think
just
Shenron would just. I think Shenron would have won the whole thing because Shenron would have just had it in there,
dropped it.
drop it
Yeah,
at
they would
some
have just
point,
every
like 1-star ball it, and
yep,
then
and then
yeah,
just
in
cool.
return,
Like it's so powerful. So I think in a the issue with like issuing let's just give erratas is that erratas don't get reprinted enough. We're getting that new pack, which is really neat,
probably
but it's
will
not
include
enough.
Bibbidi. I'm assuming.
That's the assumption.
See
Um,
if Bibbidi. So this will kind of be like a little like if Bibbidi is in there because they have to be printed already, right, for that pack? Because they already knew about the
I'm not
ape
sure.
right
Yeah,
away. Because they already knew they messed up
yeah,
on it.
yeah. I'm not sure.
If Bibbidi's in there, because that shit, it comes out in like a couple weeks.
Yeah, it's very soon.
If
It's
Bibbidi's in
certainly not
there,
at the point where they're printing.
yeah.
S-
If
They're
Bibbidi
they're
is in
probably
there, then we
printing
do
set. They're
set 13.
probably printing set 13 at this point.
Yeah.
Um,
So yeah, if Bibbidi's in that errata
no,
pack,
they're probably printing set 12. Sorry.
oh yeah, designing set 13.
Because they are designing set 13 and they are probably printing set 12.
I think set 13 is probably almost done.
They're probably getting close to being finished designing it.
Yeah.
They're going into like play testing
Yeah.
portions.
So
Either
yeah,
way, like
like I'm saying, if Bibbidi is in that errata pack, then the errata has been known for a while, and that means it was a screw up this morning that they posted it without the Bibbidi. Easily
mhm.
can happen. Easier than everybody thinks.
They
How that
also
works.
tend you it's tend yeah, you would tend not to make a decision that rash. Like this is how we're gonna errata it. I promise you, they spent they played a lot of games. using a lot of highly competitive decks against Vegeks and said, all right, this game we're going to pretend, or we're going to play without Bibbidi. This game we're going to play with Bibbidi being at 1. This game we're going to play with whatever, whatever. Um, and so then they came to the conclusion where, okay, well, maybe 15 is the way to go. I think it's possible they just maybe didn't really think about it because I know that their playtesting team isn't that big. My guess is that it's somewhere between 5 and 15 people, probably closer to 10, probably just slightly shy of 10, which is a lot, but it's not really enough to get everything in a set all the time. But that's besides the point. Koitsukai should have probably, yeah. So like I said, you can't just errata everything because those packs aren't common enough yet. So in a perfect world, Koitsukai probably just becomes a 2 cost,
I
and
can
then it
see that.
probably would have been fine.
Yep.
Um, 1 is just a little bit too powerful. But I think if they're going to keep it at 1, it should be limited in some way because that's the kind of effect where like if you just do that turns 3, 4, and 5 to your baby opponent, they can't win the game. There's 0%. Like there is just no way they can win the game. It does not matter how good that player is.
And I don't think
They don't.
blue
They
was
can't run enough extra cards to protect themselves for 3 turns against a decently wide or aggro deck.
right. And does blue have any way to affect the opponent's graveyard or discard pile without? I know King Yemma is a thing, but he doesn't target black battle cards. I don't
Yeah, I
think they
think
really
this.
have a thing,
Yeah, I think it's just King Yemma.
and he doesn't hit
And
black battle
since
cards.
blue more than any other color wants you to run mono blue, like only blue cards, it's tough
Yeah, I think Koitsukai, they're probably gonna see how it goes, if Baby can
with baby.
survive within it or not, or they just want to keep Baby from being like
Yeah, I just don't think baby
too
is gonna
big.
see a lot of play. Certainly on in the online world that we're in now, it's too slow of a deck.
Yeah, playing against Invokers or watching Invoker matches, even best of one,
Um,
took forever.
and so like it's like literally a deck as slow as Sin Shenron. Um, and then on top of that, it is a deck that I think falls prey to very matchup dependent. Where like, wow, some decks are just like you can't touch this. But the deck also, I think, basically has no way to beat green Gotenks. Even with 4 Mafuba, it's really hard to beat something like green Gotenks with that deck.
Okay. I think
But any or like hyper aggro, right? Like Pilaf. Well, I
yeah.
don't know, man. If they just like immediately answer the Gohan, who cares? So
Well, we'll
that's enough
see
for quite the
when
guy.
when set 11 drops. I just want to say
Set
real
11.
quick, like Koitsukai makes sense with with Baby coming in because they did the same thing with Android 21, but Android 21 also affected basically every deck
The
that's
whole,
ever going to be printed
yeah.
ever. Like you can
Whereas Koitsukai is sometimes.
basically cards that want to play cards on your opponent's turn.
Which right now is basically only baby. And then the 1 of counterplays that we all play. Or I guess
Yep.
the 4 of
And then like
counterplay that we all
arrival
play.
decks back in the day, and if more.
And see, and that would have been played it because those decks didn't necessarily have to play on your turn. They just got the most when they played on your turn.
Right, right. So if they want to bring that back, then maybe like then Koitsukai will get hit if they see how Baby does within it, within a Koitsukai world.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are really not thinking that Bandai will just issue bans. I think Bandai has shown, especially with the Universe 3 stuff, that combo was around for what, 2.5 weeks, not even?
Basically, in person, like printed, because the online
Yeah.
tournaments everyone was doing, which I don't think
That,
they really should be doing new stuff that's just getting previewed. Like even now at locals and
yeah,
whatnot.
until the release date, I agree. You can run it within your friends or at your locals if you're just doing like online events like that, but like if you're doing a really big event, you really shouldn't
Like
do set 11 until it's out.
like a winnow box
Especially if
monthly winnow
especially for
box
money.
tournament,
Yeah, if it's for money, you really shouldn't.
even if it's free for people to enter. Like it's just weird metas that don't make sense and don't have a lot of cards
Yeah, you skew knowledge that could be used in big events right
and
now.
rulings that are not even out yet for the cards.
Mm. So,
Well, now they're out now because the whole set's revealed. But
blue,
blue
blue
Obuni.
card. Yo,
I'm
I'm
getting
gonna
yeah.
I'm gonna let Dom finish. But Obuni, it doesn't need to be banned, and you're all trash. And Taylor Swift deserve nothing. Rihanna deserve the
There it
Emmy or
is.
whatever the saying is.
Beyonce, Beyonce, Beyonce,
Beyonce.
Beyonce.
I never saw the speech. Sorry.
Oh, you had to be there. It was great.
He had to be there.
Had to be there. Kanye 2020. So I I'm more like I was at first. I was not an Obuni fan, but I realized it's not just Obuni. It's just basically blue with like I got turned to Obuni and what do in
And
Zamasu.
right,
It's because
and
it's
that's tough.
Zamasu.
And that's tough.
It's
I
very
won't
tough.
lie. But for those that are unaware, let's talk about
Wh-
how you can turn to Obuni.
It's only
That means
Zamasu.
that you have Zamasu. You either have two Zamasus or Zamasu plus Zeno, and you also have at least one if you're playing
Which
two
Zamasu?
Zamasus or
Say
two
say which
Zamasu
ones.
one drop.
Thank you. Because you're thinking leader.
Zamasu, yeah. So in the Zamasu leader, your opening hand has to either be two Zamasu one drop, one Sensu Bean, and a Nobuni in your opening hand slash by the end of your first turn, going into turn two, or Zamasu one drop, Zeno Obuni, and two Sensu Beans. That's how you get the turn two Obuni. Now,
Sensubin
if
should
you
be a
do
red
the
at the
first
one
path, the once per turn,
once per turn.
sure. If you do the first path, you will start your next turn with 0 energy because you're going to kill the energy with your leader. You will have 0 and you'll be back to 1 and you basically won't get to set up anything else for the rest of the game. 2, it sets you back for sure, but most colors have 1 energy answers or partial answers to that Obuni. Blue and yellow outright. Blue and yellow can just run Zamasu super combo and immediately get out of 2 attacks for 1 card in hand. Um, what red has is that all you got. After Image removes basically 2 attacks for 1 card in hand. Nimbus obviously stops a lot of them.
Wolf Fang Fist pops a
Well,
token,
yeah, Wolf Fang Fist straight removes the token, so
and then
that's
the
stops
Yamcha
attack.
counterplay.
Yamcha counterplay, but that's you're not really gonna have that up on turn 1.
Not really.
But that's still such a edge case scenario that you cannot balance an entire card around that happening.
If it does like become more common, like I think I am on the team that bean should be a red at the once per turn because multiple beans just lead to too much ridiculousness. Like if you stack 2 and then 3 and oh god 4 beans, like
Yeah, you can
you
just
just
like
doubled your
Obuni
you just took a second turn.
for a couple cards in hand. Yeah.
Like I'll take that any day. Like that got me out of like games I should have just instantly lost, and then I just won because I had extra energy. And then even defense, you just shut down your opponent's whole turn, which is what a whole secret rare does. So
Hmm.
I think the main problem with like that whole scenario is that Zamasu goes against like the Zeno stuff, like that. Like they had ramp, like the Zeno ramp, and like the other ways they stopped the ramp, like with the Goku Black Errata leader was like you can't
Hmm.
and like I think there's another card that does the same thing. Like you can't add
You
another
can't
energy.
add the Goku Black Future Decimator.
Yeah. Where this Zamasu that's like turn one just like does it. Cause he
But that's the
also
thing though,
like
is that you have to kill the energy. You have to kill the energy, and then if that energy is gone, you have to kill a different energy. So that's why if you do the two Zamasu play into it, you'll kill the two Zamasu energy just for having them, and then your leader will kill an energy, and you'll be back to 1 energy.
I mean leader doesn't have to kill an energy. You probably are going to for the
Yeah, but
pressure.
you're going because the whole point is
Yeah.
the pressure.
But that's
And
also
the
the
deck
thing
is
because the
off.
leader just does so much with that bonus energy. The leader
And I
is pretty good.
and well and like so right, it really does put you behind, but it only kind of puts you behind in life total because Zamasu spent like 5 cards in hand to do that.
There's just some decks that like if you're a slower deck,
Can't deal
you
with
just
it.
can't deal with it. So it's really annoying for
Well,
that part. Like I get that.
but that's an edge case scenario of 1 card, right?
Yeah. And it's only with the Zamasu leader because of the how he awakens.
Exactly. So if you think about like other blue decks play the game, if you took away Obuni, blue becomes the worst color outright, and it's like really not that close. Red would have been, but the set 11 stuff for red is pretty good.
Yeah. And
Both
like
both archetypes.
I would still kind of argue blue sucks because you're basically playing the same cards. Like we talked about before in like multiple videos, I think by now. Blue is
Yeah,
just you're playing the
the
same
same
game, just different
30
leader.
36-ish cards in the deck are the same, like no matter what blue deck you're playing, except for baby. And then you play ramp versus um, more unisons slash blockers slash Zamasu package. That's it.
Yeah. So it's like blue just has a lot of issues that needs fixing, and then maybe Obuni can get hit.
But until then, it's the kind of the only card that blue has that is really worth playing.
Yeah, because it's like blue's only way to take care of early unison also.
Yeah, blue
Early-ish,
has
mid game,
really
because
tough.
usually if you're not playing ramp, you're gonna mid game play it at turn 4.
Hmm.
And yeah,
Um, but beyond that, I think the big piece is that a lot of people are like, oh well, Abuni hits the board and you just can't do anything. Every color has a main boardable answer to Wabuni that doesn't even hurt most decks playstyles. I would argue red has the least main deckable one, but yellow, you're playing Zamasa Super Combo and Bergamo. Cool.
everyone can
Just
also just
and
overwhelm too.
yeah. And then you can just everyone's running the overall mass Saiyan, so that's immediately fine. Blue can just Senzu Bean, bro. One Senzu Bean on your leader, and your opponent's gonna just kind of pass with those tokens. Unless they're pushing for game. In which case, if they're pushing for game, you screwed up earlier, and that's where you need to fix your game plan.
I think
Uh,
I think the main big issue is with Dragon Ball is that a lot of it's like themed decks, like very archetypical with the characters and stuff, and a lot of people like their themes, but they don't want
mhm.
to add tech too much. But then if you look at other card games, this is a meta where things go wide, which is what we're in right now. Like Pilaf, Vegix, Obuni basically goes wide on its own. AODs, mainboarding things against going wide, especially early, like early aggro, like
Is good. And
that's
it's
all you
not
need to
like
do.
you're not playing these cards anyway. Like green is playing Dormant Unleashed, yellow is playing Nimbus, and Bergamo and Zamasu. The like I said, and blue is playing Sensu Bean, and the I guess the Trunks doesn't really do that much. Um, but red is the only color where I don't think it's really like main board ish worthy with Vegeta exploiting weakness, and is that all you got?
Or even
But those are still good cards. Like if you put those in your sideboard, there are other uses for those cards besides Obuni. Like you're not even like teching for Obuni. It's just also a card. Obuni is just one of the many set or things that it hits.
mhm. And it's not like the tokens are not like Obuni has deflect. The tokens do not have deflect.
So you can deal with them.
You can crusher ball them all. You
Yeah, oh my
can,
gosh.
yeah, crusher ball them all and like, okay, cool, kill Obuni,
Cool.
kill them all.
Uh, Crusher Ball them all. Next turn, Mass Saiyan. Bye.
Yep. You
Uh,
can
yeah, just Yamcha. That gets rid of
s-
2.
Saiyan potential unleash. Discard 6, please. Now what blue's gonna do?
Hit
You
Hidden Power of the Saiyans. Yeah.
Yeah, you hit power the Saiyans and then you free cast your hidden potential unleash to kill the Obuni tokens.
Like
Now
every color has answers that are main boardable. I mean, heck, man, just play Black Mass Saiyan. Dark Power Black Mass Saiyan. What are you
it's
doing?
quite the card right now.
Blue doesn't have answers to 1 drops, man. They have all too easy, and if they bounce it back, you just play it again.
Yeah, so that's our Obuni rant. Basically, Obuni is the get
Um,
good of the format. So
I think Obuni is the get good of the format.
like solid card. It's strong. Like it's gonna feel strong no matter when they drop it. But that's just how card games go. Every deck has a card that's like that.
Is
Um,
there anything in other colors? If you
green,
think ape needs to be banned, you're probably just thinking with your wallet and not with your head.
it'll probably get a reprint.
We need mana sinks in a game with this many floodgates.
Yeah,
You have to have mana sinks in a game with this many floodgates.
and it's not like the card won't also get maybe another reprint. Like who knows?
And or once the packs go to Target.
Yeah, those event packs have been known to go to Target and Walmart, mostly
And
Target.
when that happens, yikes.
Yeah, just buy them.
Um, were there
Green
any really?
hand destruction is a topic,
It,
but it hasn't been doing well, so who
that's the
cares?
thing is like people want to ban what they hate rather than what they think is good to ban. Yes, I get it. Ribrianne is annoying. We've all been there where your opponent puts you to 0 cards in hand on like turn 4, and then grinds your nose until turn 7 when they finally kill you. That is, but you not liking the game is not enough for you to hate it because one, every deck can just run ape, but also, man, green doesn't win. Green has top aided one decent event. They got one Frieza in that like North Carolina 1K
I thought
or New
Dredgeku
Jersey.
made it.
Nope. I think Dredgeku might have got one top 8 of a Gen Con like the first week.
I thought that was Scott Dachie running the maidens, and that's why the maiden stuff
Oh my
happens.
gosh, that was so long ago.
Wasn't that the same thing, the New
Oh
Jersey
crap.
thing?
Yeah, I suppose. No, it wasn't. It was a different one.
Oh, okay.
That was Virginia.
Oh,
That was
okay.
like right. That was right away in set 10.
Right, right, right. Never mind.
But
Hand
green is
instructions.
only.
Yeah, hand instruction just feels bad because no one likes playing against it. I literally had a guy rage at me at Gen Con 2 years ago when I blew up his hand with Purunga AOD. Like, yeah, it's just like land destruction and magic, I guess. No one likes playing against it, but it's going to be a thing because it's green.
It has to keep decks in check.
Yeah, green needs to kill resources, and green beats
If
control decks because they have to discard all of their negates.
yeah, like baby's hardest matchup is probably hand control. Um, so like, but if you guys hate baby and you get rid of hand control, well, guess what? Baby becomes much stronger in a meta without hand control.
It's like what would have
And then you
happened?
hate baby. Well, then you want to ban baby. Okay, well, baby's gone, so now we're back to hyper aggro. Okay, well, you hate hyper aggro, and then so you ban the hyper aggro stuff, and now your meta sucks because there's two legal decks,
Yeah,
and they're both mediocre.
there's always gonna be something that's annoying to play against because your deck loses to it. Um,
Red doesn't have anything ban worthy.
I don't think so. Red needs a little something.
Red, I think red's about to be fine.
Well,
I think it's about to be fine. Set 11, I think we're
not
fine.
just like it doesn't help red in general though. It's just a deck that
Yeah,
is
it
red.
two decks though. I think the Gogeta 6 drop is just a lot.
Yeah.
It
So
is so good.
basically, red's getting two really strong archetypes decks that, but like literally, if they were any other color though, it would have been like the same thing where that deck is just
Yeah,
strong. It doesn't help boost red itself. I think in the future,
agreed.
maybe the new Dropbox will have more
Good
general
red
stuff
stuff.
for red because I think red in Dropbox has been one
It just
shot
needs
case
it needs
forever.
I think it needs a little bit more hand size. And I don't know how they do that because like if Frost Before the Storm was a cantrip and then it also had the active main,
Yes,
immediately
or maybe now.
great.
One,
Fantastic card.
yeah, once per turn is fine.
It has to be once per turn.
Yeah,
If it's
yeah,
not
yeah.
once per
I
turn,
just
then it's
realized
too
that
good.
it's basically better ape. You can just end turn on the prison Frieza with like two energy
2 and
up
then
and
Topo.
tap five.
Topo.
Yeah,
Hello.
yeah.
Topo. Cool.
So red needs to summon black. We talked about black. I think that's it. Multicolor. Celzino.
Bibby. Well, it shouldn't be banned though.
No, I think
They
Celzino
just. I
is
think
just
now. I think
strong.
they just have to leave. I think we just need to live with it now.
Yeah, it's back
Um,
to learning to play against go wide decks. I think that's the issue. People don't want to learn against playing against decks. They want to play what they have.
um,
If you stop them from going wide, you can't play Celzino. Because I think only meta deck that's running it is AOD, right?
Gotenks.
Gotenks
And
will.
then both
Current
both
meta
Gotenks.
decks.
No,
Both
even
Gotenks. Because you
yellow Gotenk still runs it. Bergamo, Vegeta, Ape is 12. Ape is 12. Vegeta, Chilled, Ape is 12. Free play Bardock.
well, at that point you just Koitsukai your opponent so they stop playing cards on your turn and they discard Cell Xeno. There you go.
They just got Celsius.
Yeah, Warp Cell Xeno, please. There's a
Um,
way around it. I know like green free plays a lot of stuff, but we also have a bunch of hate against stronger, like high energy cost cards that come out early. Blue
yeah.
has something. Red has Golem
I mean,
Beetle.
everyone just has
Everyone has the Migra.
max power
Maximum,
Kamehameha
yeah. There you go. Pop their card. You lost six
or
numbers.
Foo Shrouded as well.
Yeah. I
Or
think.
not Foo Shrouded. Remote Series Bomb.
Yeah, but max power is just better.
Yeah, basically.
And everyone should have got that in their anniversary packs. It's like a 10-cent card. Buy them up.
Let's see. Black have anything
Just
that's
Koitsukai we
ridiculous?
talked about.
Yeah.
We'll see how things play out with the online tournaments with the new ban list that is active October 2nd. So
Yeah.
basically that's the pre-release of the new set, right?
I
Because
think
then
so.
October 9th, yep, is when the set
Cool.
drops. So
All right.
pre-release
I
is
did
banned.
think about multicolor.
What you got? Invoker, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, people think Cat Blow needs to go. If you think Cat Blow needs to go, you do not understand how Invoker works because if you made Cat Blow one of, the deck is unplayable.
You would
If
have
you
to
make it
rely.
once per turn, the deck is unplayable.
'Cause the deck literally would have to rely on Apex, and that's like a $500 card, and not everyone can play
And
it
it,
then.
yeah, the deck would be trash, like trash. Now, if you could still run Gogeta 7, cool, but you can't.
It has no
Um,
way to end the game whatsoever. There's that dashback promo, but
that's not
it's
enough. That's
it's
not enough reason to play that. I'd rather just play Goku in other decks and then just run Overrealm.
yeah.
Like, um, gosh, I had another one, but it's fine. Oh yeah, the other topic that I was thinking of, other cards that could be unbanned.
Oh, Free Cell. It's a
Don't free
popular
sell.
one. Yeah, I'm not
It's
really
a
on that
popular
one.
one. I so Cell is a really interesting case because we actually do have more answers to it. However, when a card like that is introduced, it forces the entire meta, to shift towards counterplays again. There were a lot of people that were not big fans of I played a card, okay, Vegeta the Cruel. People were not fans of I'm going to play this card, Denial of Hope. People were not fans of that meta. If you bring back Cell, I'm just gonna always play an Android deck because this says you better have this answer on turn 3 or you lose.
Yeah, it's all
Decks
about.
can't decks can't come back from 3 cards in hand when they were supposed to have 9 or 10.
Plus, Cell can just start running its first couple turns with Bardock, Unison, and then always have that extra discard ready.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're gonna have no
You
hand. Oh, and the blue green Android 18 that you can just absorb under super
Yep.
combo. Like your hand's just dead, and that also helped it out so much. And you can just run blue
Uh
green. You can't ramp
you could
because
literally just
otherwise,
run blue green
yeah, you can run blue
because
green
then
now.
you get the best 2 cards of those names as absorb targets that you were already going to run.
You just can't run the ramp because then you can't play Perfect Force Cell.
So, but that's what I mean is right when you bring back a card like that, there's so many ramifications. And I'm not saying it's not worth testing, right? Like I'm intrigued personally by the idea of I'll throw together a deck that I think could play it. Let's run it into every single deck in the format. I think it's worthwhile. But the chain is very interruptible at multiple parts. Um, we just gotta be careful.
Until I
Um,
think we print a healthy counter to hand control. Tau was bad design because of how
Tau was
counterplays
bad
worked.
design.
Because
Well, yeah, not counterplays. How it interacted with other things that made you
or like
discard.
topo, but like also
Topo.
counterplays. Like you denial of hope something that counts as you discarding that card because it goes
Yeah,
from hand to drop,
which is yeah.
which is
So
not
that's
intended.
that's part of the problem.
I think
Um.
unbanning 21 is never gonna happen because of the you just kill
So I'm
monocolors.
I'm I'm intrigued by the idea of Android 21 as a one of. I still think it might be a little too powerful.
I feel like
However,
if you
I
drop the
look at
21, it's just such a sack play though.
I know, but I just look at blue green and it's still a hard cast at 8, which is like a turn 5 6 play, and
I
I'm
think
not
it's
sure it's I think it's a turn 5 play realistically. Like
yeah.
if you ramp 3 times in a game, like well cuz right, you'd play Zeno then if it comes back. You would just play Zeno.
Hmm.
So it's like a turn 5 play where you ramp twice, turn 8 play if you ramped 3 times,
Turn 8 play, turn
or
3 or
turn 4,
4.
turn
Yeah,
3 or 4 play because you could 4 ramp 3 and then Zeno.
yeah.
But like if you're ramping every turn, then you don't have an energy to play the game with. So like it's fine.
I
But
still
that
yeah.
it's still so powerful and it warps the game a lot. So I completely understand keeping it banned. It's
Hmm.
like minus Killy Zone. Maybe it wouldn't break the game, but it warps too much of the way we play the game.
Yeah, minus Killing Zone was a hell of a drug.
What we got? Bardock? You
That
played Storm.
that can probably now with Goten back, it's one or the other. You can't
Either
have
one of the
both,
other, or it has to be errated to Goku's lineage leader, and we can't get any new ones. We have to keep the ones we've got now. Because
right?
if we get a Goku lineage leader that keeps up with these new leaders where they're awoken immediately and half of them draw 2 cards a turn,
It'd be too
nope,
much.
too much.
Plus multicolor might have helped it with like blue yellow. You can just bean it
Blue
on the
yellow would have been
floor.
insane.
You can demagic on your opponent's turn and have it all up.
Ugh.
Um,
Into ape.
yeah,
Well, I guess you
because
couldn't
you're
ape.
yellow leaders.
I guess you couldn't ape. Oh, oh,
Yeah.
no. Goten could be okay in Kefla.
Oh God. Oh
Okay,
yeah.
we'll brainstorm that afterwards.
Uh,
But it could be okay, not great. Okay.
okay. Um, what else is on there? Battering laser. Meh. It's not a good.
Everyone can hear. Everyone, yeah, that card can't come back. That's too cheap of a counter. If you're gonna have counters, a generic one for every color where it's like 2 energy and 3 cards in hand. I think that would be fair. Because then you're giving up basically all your combo power.
U
Two,
three.
two, two on color energy where all of your energy is the same color
Okay.
and your leader is that color and
Super
discard 3.
restricted.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it would just be like 2 blue. If your leader is mono blue and all your energy is blue, you may choose 3 mono blue cards in your hand, place them in the drop area, negate the counter skill.
Yeah, because that gives you your combo power, and then
So
you can try to
it's
combo out.
4 cards in hand and 2 energy. So you can't just like drop a boss monster and go.
I win.
Yeah, it does mean that Mira, if that was the case, Mira probably has to go. But I think overall it would make for a slightly more healthy game state because there's a lot of counters in the game that are really just, did I have the dormant to live the next turn? Cool, I win.
Yeah.
And it's neat to have that as a one of as Hachiak, but it's not neat when, as someone who plays green, it is not fun for my opponent when I just Gohan blocker off of Dispo in my drop and then just go, okay, dormant potential, block, and then shocking death ball either from energy or from life. That is no fun for them. They don't play the game for turns in a row while I'm picking at their hand.
Yep.
Uh,
U3 can't come back because it's just free playing
I think
cards.
on Eliza could, but
Potentially.
it's on Eliza and Pepperoni could right now, but they should stay banned
It's future
because it
design.
limits future design too much.
Hmm. Let's
Um,
see. I think that's pretty
Ramp
much it.
cards, honestly, If you think Plan for Destruction was too much, you probably just got to get good. Plan for Destruction was kind of fine. They're trying to future-proof it. I get it.
Would
It means
okay?
blue boss
How
monsters
would
have to
Plan of
be
Destruction be with the Zamasu currently out right now?
honestly not that great. It'd be good, but not that great. It
Because
wouldn't be
it's a
like broken.
permanent ramp though, right? Or do you have to be
It is
at
a
it?
permanent ramp, but it costs a card in hand. It comes in rested, and you and your opponent have to have 7 between you.
Right.
So, right. So, realistically, at earliest, your opponent's going to have 2 and you go 3. Or you like do like the Zamasu ramp where you just like play a bunch of Zamasus out of hand, but then you're minus a bunch of cards in hand,
Wasn't there like a
which is
super cheese? What was the super cheese with it?
there was the Super Cheese didn't run that card
Oh,
with like
gotcha.
the Goku Black deck. The
Gotcha.
Super Cheese ran the Goku Black inviting the darkness and
Wait,
using leader
can't
skill and
you
Zeno.
now the Zeno super combo, or did that only grab battle cards?
Zeno can grab anything,
So you just
but
grab
if
that
you're
again, and then
yeah, but that's not worth it to be honest with you.
oh no, we did talk
That's
about that before. That's right. That's
the
too many
blue
cards then.
the blue Zeno super combo is just not worth running over Zamasu super combo.
I think
Uh,
yeah, that's probably fine to go. And then the ramp hate because
so
it
yeah,
just
so
gets
you cannot bring back Master Jack Saiyan because of Zamasu. You can't have a deck that leaves your opponent at 3 energy for the entire game. That does not work.
and then I think Shigesh is the only thing left. Top of my head.
I have another one
Oh, what do you got?
that is a really good. It's a really good theory, but we'll
Okay,
talk about
okay.
Shugesh.
Shigesh.
Can't can't come back.
Yeah,
Cannot.
he warped too much for
The,
the meta.
imagine. I don't even know why I would do anything except for run 4 Shugesh, 4 of that red yellow SS4 Goku. That's a rare from set 9, and then 4 Heartfelt. Every deck does not matter.
Yeah, yeah.
Every yellow deck, just it doesn't matter. I'll just drop a Heartfelt as soon as I awaken every game, no matter what.
Who'd have thought?
You could just
Play
run
like that.
Shugesh. Yeah. And now there's so many targets for 3-drop yellow Saiyans. It's like, imagine on turn 4, you just go Shugesh path response, and they respond. You go, okay, Shugesh path.
Wait, I know
And then
that
you go,
play.
okay, tap 4, hide a
I
mastery.
know that play. Wait a minute.
It's broken.
It kind of was.
Shugesh.
What was your last thing?
Unyielding Trunks.
Oh
So,
yeah.
this card cannot come back in its current state. However, I believe this is an example of a card that they could use as an example for more creative super combos. This is a really powerful effect, being able to untap on your turn. Senzu Bean is already a lot, but this card lets you do it from nothing. However, if you make this card your super combo and you keep it a 5k, that's pretty good.
Is it
To be able to untap on your turn, you then give up Zamasu super combo for defense. You give up the draw, and you give up the fact that every other deck in the game has more combo power inherently in their deck than you do.
I maybe.
Where like exactly like same number of cards in hand, if you see that they're running Unyielding Trunks, you do not have to think about 10Ks. You literally go, oh, okay, cool. And Trunks only states on your turn. So if it said super combo and it said untap a mono blue only, fine, cool. I like, or at least it just says blue rather than non-blue, whatever. It could be multicolor at this point because multicolor is not great, but
What's it
it
currently
just
say right now? Does it say your leader
it just says
has
1
blue?
energy. Blue
Interesting.
leader, 1 energy. Which like you're gonna untap a blue because chances are, and then like the whole point is to do that and then double bean or something. But it's still a strict minus in hand, and it is almost actually just like a worse super Sensu Bean. Because Sensu Bean can be done defensively, and it's for the whole turn. Trunks is a single time 5k boost,
I could see
and
that, but then
right, so
erratas.
that's yes,
That's the
and
argument. Yeah.
that's what 2 erratas on that card. You have to make it a super combo, and then you also have to give it that effect. But I'm down for them printing super combos in the future that have 0 combo power or 5k combo power and really powerful effects.
like we kind of been saying with like Lord the Slug AOD, that's a pretty strong effect
Yes.
where you have to play your super combo. The one drops from set 10 cycle that they kind of insensitize you to
They're
play the one
vulnerable.
card, play it for
Hmm.
one.
Honestly, all the multicolored super combos could have been 0.5Ks. Maybe not all of them, because then it makes some of them too weak. But if the other ones were slightly better designed, then they could
Yeah,
be.
then 0-5 and then you get off for your rival. I think that's totally fine. You're right.
Like specifically like Zamasu, Jiro, Android 18 could all be 0.5Ks.
Yeah.
Um, because Whis could be a 0.5K because it's still a 15K swing, but it would have to be able to target their leader or unison card, but it can't. It only targets battle cards. Nappa would suck. Why not just run Raditz or something? I'm not giving up that draw to get 2 instances of blue, red, green arrival. That's not that hard to do.
Yeah, I think Nappa could stay as a 10K if you do your changes. Like if they do the
Well, see,
changes
but
to
the
the
thing
deck.
is that they would instead, if they do that, they make it a cycle. So they would make them all 0.5Ks and then give them a like they would change the red yellow and red green effects to be better.
Yeah, like Nappa could have. Could he have draw a card if combo from the battle area?
When you combo with this card, you may keep this card in your combo area for the duration of the turn or something.
Actually, you know what? They had never done things like that. That'd be interesting.
Um, so right, and so that's kind of the idea is that Bandai could make unyielding trunks that way. It gives up a lot of nuance to your deck, especially because as the game goes on, giving up the super combo now is like, okay, well, you give up a draw. But now, post set 9 world, you also give up Zamasu super combo, which means you give up a lot of defense. Or in the future, if there's a blue super combo that does something else, like in a similar vein where it affects the game in some way, maybe it's like a when you combo with this card, you may discard 2 cards. In that case, choose one of your opponent's energy and place it in the drop, right? Minus 3 cards in hand to snipe an energy. Then you give up that ability. And so I think that's what makes super combos really interesting is that they make you make choices between play styles and you have to commit to them. You don't just get to sideboard the other ones.
Right. I know. I actually had this conversation with my buddy Blaine a while ago where he's just like, I think super combos are just like not needed. And I was like, you know what? In the traditional sense, yeah, they don't really add too much to the game.
The draw ones don't add anything to the game except to like speed the game up slash add hype to your quote unquote random hand.
Right. Because both players will have it. Like it either save a card for comboing defensively, or you just like do an extra combo power going in. Like it's they honestly don't
Mm-hmm.
even need like a super combo take for that anymore. They could just like get rid of super combos in general. But now
Well,
with
see,
these
but
new
that's
effect ones, like
yes,
this is yeah, like you're saying, super combo has evolved to a point where it's like these are just like strong effects that you can
they're
just
they're
already limit right here and like make you
they are
decide on
they are
next phase.
options. They are
Yeah,
options, which is so much more interesting to a card game than um, numbers. Numbers is cool, but if you really play card games, if you think that this game peaked between set 1 and 2, if you think 2.5 is the quote unquote GOAT format, congratulations. You can count the number of cards in your opponent's hand. Great job.
right. Yeah,
But
dude.
if you can master set 7, 8, 9 meta, if you can master the set 10 meta, then I'm going to respect you because, especially, I think the 7, 8, 9 meta was the most interesting because Arrival added so much to the way you played the game. Um, but having mastery over options is more impressive to me than is my hand bigger.
Right. I even played a big event with like no super combos whatsoever because it just didn't help the deck at any point. It didn't add to the deck.
Because that was when you were playing AOD, right?
Yeah, so I was playing Pruning AOD. It's like I have a
This
game
doesn't
plan
do anything.
that I'm just gonna do turn 2 or 3. Drawing cards
I'd
I
rather.
didn't really care about. Like I'm just gonna do my shit and win.
Hmm. Are there any other banned cards that I just can't think of right now?
Uh,
Gogeta 7. I actually think this card could come back if it errated to crit 2 life. I think that alone would make it more
yeah,
playable.
it just need to be a bit more steep because how fast it could come out sometimes, even like turn 5. And now that people are awakening sooner, like you can just stay protected more, especially in blue.
Hmm.
Um,
Um, blah, blah, blah.
I'm checking. I'm checking. I think that's
Tau, Tien
TN.
probably needs to stay gone.
Yeah, that was.
Um, but I do think that the quote unquote the anti-color silver bullets are good card design. They just didn't implement them right. I think Haru Haru is a good example, but Trunks and Tien are not quite good enough.
The My thing with silver bullets is that I wish they weren't black, and I wish we got like a cycle that like if your leader's this color, because that way like
Hmm.
ISRs or like those attack rares or even just like you play at an event, your sideboard is all black cards. There was like a time where it felt like your sideboard was all black cards, and you
I
on a
mean,
sided stuff,
even now,
it's yeah, it's like all black
Toa
cards.
Twisted Sister, Meki Kabuto,
It's like
Burning Impact, Kami, Dende, Haru Haru. Yeah,
it
even
just
now it still
it
feels
just
that way
feels bad.
sometimes.
Turles, too fast.
Should be under Hachiek leader.
Yes,
That literally should have been it. From day one, they should have just said, if your leader's a Hachiak leader.
or black machine gun.
They should have seen this design issue coming the second they printed this card. That was really bad foresight.
Because like we said, oh, silver bullets are all black cards. Cool.
Um,
And
I
then
had
there's
if the Jacks left, that card could probably come back. Because we no longer have to deal with U3 as well.
yeah, the
Um,
last few cards. There's Zeno button. Yeah,
nope,
yes, I too like to untap everything and then play my cards because
nope,
it was counter
cannot.
tapping.
Nope, zero chance. Nope, not a
Flute,
chance.
flute. Too
It
much
could be at
damage.
one,
It was already at one before.
and I think it could be at one. Bouncing your own cards. In this game, everything has an on play effect, so it's cool. Also, you should switch the. If we're still streaming, you should definitely switch over to the front page so it's a little nicer. Um, Flute could be at one because everything has an on play effect, and recycling those effects is not broken most of the time, but powerful. And as a one of, it's going to have a lot of skill as to when you play it, but when it's at 4, you're just like, oh, okay, cool, I'll just always bounce back my Obuni. But like bouncing back your Obuni at the wrong time could mean that your opponent now has a counterplay, means that your opponent now has whatever. Bouncing back a negate card is cool. Um,
Stain.
it could also go ahead.
Um, Zamasu, bounce back Zamasu, use that energy you added, play it. It's like a fifth Zamasu for the turn 2 Obuni.
Oh,
Yeah.
sure, but that's not like.
And you draw a card.
But that's again, that's why I think a one of is fine.
That's still 5.
It's
Ugh.
still very powerful. Don't get me wrong.
But yeah,
Would
anything.
still be a great card.
And then it would also
Maybe
limit
it could
design, I
cost
think, too.
if you printed it and it costs like 2.
And bounce
That
back something like more like a 2 cost.
and
So why would you
because
want
what
to
it bounces
bounce back?
it bounces anything you have 3 or less.
Oh, it does say
Anything,
serious. Yeah, she's one of your opponent's
isn't it?
battle. Yours, or your opponent's battle cards.
Yeah, 3, man, that's not a very big number. That doesn't hit that many useful things. That's probably most useful in Android 21. So,
Yeah. And
um,
then there is SS3 leader. We got a reboot.
the reboot is just a little bit weak, but like
It's fine.
I think that it's fine.
And the Child's Wish.
Yeah, I can't go. Errata changes. Give Purunga leader ultimate back. What were you thinking?
Yeah, it's literally it's big play.
the whole point is that you literally just made the Purunga leader completely irrelevant because you could just play this regular Shenron leader and one copy of World Peace in your deck.
But you can run 4 World Peace still, Dane.
It's cool.
Exactly. And then green has
But
their
it's
own that pops a card. Purunga, yeah, Purunga should have his big effect. It is his big effect. It is your I'm going to win the game or I'm going to lose because you go back to 10k. Totally fine with all these counterplays I think that are going around.
Yes. What else we got that's been errated in a really bad way?
Mecha will probably get a reboot leader.
That's honestly Mecha is like honestly pretty close to being fine. I think
And then
I think the front side could have the same skill but available on your turn. But if you use it on your turn, you negate the skill for the game. That could be
Other
really
than
interesting.
that, Super Shenron, fine. It's fine.
At 25, just make it 25 battle cards. 30 is a little too much
Or just 30
because like
cards.
you give up your 30. No, it's 30 battle cards.
Yeah.
Or 30 cards. 30 cards would be cool too.
And I think that's it. There's Bobbity, but that makes total sense because they did that before Trunks came out because Trunks was coming out. Makes
Yep,
sense.
that would be ridiculous without it because you could just there's so many ways to get it in.
Other than
Cool.
that, there's the world peace and stuff we talked about. Like that's fine. Free playing like in the Shenron deck, free playing a 3-drop at 4 energy, fine. Totally fine. Any 3-drop from your world drop. Oh, and Broly leader. Yeah, we
I
know
mean,
that.
and World Peace should say 4 or less. Whoa, come on, 3
I still think
Bandai.
3 is fine. 4 is probably fine too. 3 is
Four is not only completely fine. 4 would be optimal because there are no 3 drops that win you the game. There are 4 drops that can help you win the game. There are 3 drops that can advance your game state, tax your opponent, do whatever, but you can't play an Obuni off of 4. You cannot play a Super 17 Infernal Machine for 4 or off of 3. You have to be able to play cards that cost 4 because that's when cards start really having powerful effects.
okay.
Anything else?
I think that's it. We could talk what's gonna be in the errata pack. Probably Mecha Frieza, Bibbidi. I think leaders. I think the leaders that they all errata would all be in there.
I think the leaders,
Because there's that
the
Goten
Great
leader
Ape.
also. Actually, they don't need to errata the Goten leader because they put the ruling in the rule book that if you look through your deck, you shuffle. So that
Yep.
that errata was there before. The Great Ape's gonna be in there. Bibbidi, if it was premeditated, Bibbidi,
Premeditated. Yeah.
premeditated, yeah.
Bobbity will be.
Oh,
I
for
would be
sure.
shocked if it wasn't.
Um,
Um,
we already got
I don't
cells.
know if there's that. World Peace and Purunga
Sad. They
and
just,
the plea for salvation.
yeah, they should just take back like you said, but they won't.
They won't. They already printed it. And you know World Peace is in there too. You know it's in there.
Yeah. Super Shenron. So yeah, basically like the leaders. The STRs are probably not.
There's no way.
These are just cosmetics. Cosmetic
Like
fixes.
and they're so little and they're so like, oh, that's what it means. People still had to really think. Well, for one, everyone just assumed Gogeta was at 110k. And even honestly, if it was a 05k, I could care less.
Yeah.
Or a 010k, I could care
Oh, the
less.
Surge leaders.
That's a good possibility, especially because not everyone had access to them.
Heartfelt plea.
I am fine with Heartfelt Plea as well.
And
It kills the value of buying set 8 right now.
yeah.
Absolutely destroys the value of buying set 8, but
For
that's
sure,
fine.
Android Duality, the expert deck, but forgot Energy Exhaust. And maybe the
Yep.
ISRs.
I could see the ISRs. I don't think it's super likely because when you read them, you know their intention.
Oh, and
right?
triple flash. That's for sure.
That's a pretty good one as well. I
Hmm.
don't know if it's for sure,
It's quite the change on it. You need to have a red
because
Saiyan leader.
you Red Saiyan leader, right? Yeah,
That one I see in there.
cool. Um, I
That's
don't
all
really
for
think we
ban
have
lists.
anything else. That was a lot about ban lists and ideologies of bans and current state of the game. Oh, Cold Bloodlust needs to stay at 1. We saw the post the other day that someone said it could be a 2. You don't understand how this game works. Sorry.
Kobolas
Cannot have
stays
cards
one.
like that at 2. If you have that card at 2, I'm just gonna start playing Frieza leaders only, because if there are 2 points in the game in which I can effectively non-interactably stop you from winning the game, I'm gonna do that. Playing Cold Bloodlust is almost like playing a baby hatch secret rare in your deck.
Yep,
The
yep.
only reason I didn't see play before was because, one, there weren't that many cards that basically said I win. The game was about numbers, and also
There weren't
um,
any good Frieza army leaders at the time. There's like one.
there was the one good leader, but there wasn't enough cards around it to make it worthwhile playing.
Hmm. And
And
now
then
there
minus
is,
Kill Zone
which also can stay banned.
needs to stay banned. Yep.
All right, cool. This is a little longer than we thought, but that was a good discussion about like what could have been. I like. Of course, like I'll just split everything up like I always do with the videos. So
Mm-hmm.
if you are watching on YouTube, you already see it's all split up, and this big chunk at the end you could just ignore. I'll put a little note that says if you're just here about the current ban list, stop here. Everything else for fun.
Yo,
Yeah, it's
calling it now. Bibbity's bad.
Baby D's bad. Yeah, yeah, probably.
I
Uh,
just don't.
yeah, yeah, 15K. Ooh. Well, cool. It's a
How many?
North Star ball.
Yeah, this has been Dane and Dom. Have a good night, guys.